Well, I saw this interesting tweet, and I had never seen the facts put this way. It's from Conservative MP from Saskatchewan, Brad Trost. It says, there are now more illegal asylum claims made in Canada than legal claims. 6,373 illegal border jumpers this year alone. And it's only April, 3 times the amount of illegal crossings in 2017. The government is projecting up to 400 people a day to illegally cross our border this summer. And joining us now via Skype is our friend Brad Trost. Great to see you again. Thanks for taking the time. Those are shocking numbers, but it's shocking to me. I think it's shocking to normal Canadians, but this is not considered shocking to the media party, to the political media establishment, I don't think.
No, I think after last year, they sort of anticipated this was going to shoot up. We just had the Liberals say they've got $173 million budgeted so far for this issue this year. And I kind of suspect that's just the start. You know how these things go. Numbers just go up as the spending goes through the year.
You know, you mentioned $160-odd million, but that doesn't sound like it's even close to handling things. We've seen Quebec say they're at the breaking point. They're now shipping their illegal border crossers to Ontario. We see the mayor of Toronto, John Tory, saying we are bursting at the seams. We already have quadruple the number of refugees in our homeless shelters as we had just a year or two ago. So even center-left politicians are starting to say it's just too much. I saw news that a Parti Québécois MNA in Quebec is actually talking about a border fence with the United States. Even people who are on the left are saying it's too much. What's the spirit in Parliament? Because looking at Justin Trudeau, looking at Ahmed Hassan, they don't seem to be blinking one bit.
Yeah, they still have pretty much a sense of arrogance on this one. They've been throwing stuff back to the Conservatives about you guys took away dental benefits from illegal refugees. We don't have anything to learn from you guys. You're all a bunch of heartless, knuckle-dragging Neanderthals. So that's sort of been their attitude at this point, a sort of a let-them-eat-cake mentality. We're pushing back. I mean, as I said, they just said $170 million. One of our critics pointed out that $86 million has just been spent on overtime for the various enforcement. That's just the overtime. It doesn't count social services by the provinces. That doesn't count all sorts of education bills. I mean, essentially what the Americans are doing and what the illegal refugees are doing is they're offloading a problem in the United States and they're unloading the problem into Canada. And it's going to get worse. And that's not a good thing for either regular Canadian citizens or for people who have gotten in line the proper way and want to apply to come to Canada in the regular channels.
Yeah. You know, it's perplexing to me that the government would proceed in this way, the Liberal government. I mention this from time to time. A poll taken by the Liberal government under Trudeau asked Canadians what they thought about the numbers of immigrants to Canada, and only 8% thought the number should be increased. Well, they increased it from 250,000 to 300,000, and that was before this open border fake migrant problem from the States. I can't believe that there's any broad-based support in any province, in any demographic, other than, I suppose, some direct immigration industry types. But even there, you know, I think sober-minded people would say it's broken. You just can't force in tens of thousands of people like this. I think that they're in jeopardy of actually burning up whatever remaining goodwill Canadians have towards immigrants. I think what they're doing, being so reckless, it will actually cause a backlash. What do you think?
Well, I think that's absolutely true. For your viewers don't know, my wife's an immigrant from Asia. She's Mongolian. I've got a bunch of family members who are there. They're a lot more hardline, tough on this than native-born Canadians, because their attitude is, I paid my dues, I stood in line, I waited, I jumped through the hoops, I worked hard to get here, and now these people are cutting in front of the line. So I think one of the things that a lot of viewers who are native-born Canadians should realize, places like Toronto are going to get more upset about this than areas that are so far away they have no real day-to-day connection with this. So I think that's one of the things that people actually have to understand. anyone who's gone through the system really resents people cutting to the front.
Yeah, I think you're right to talk about places like Toronto and Vancouver, and to a degree Montreal. Those are the three cities that absorb the bulk of these migrants, and they're also the places with the longest hospital wait lists, with the food bank shortages.
Schools.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, every single social service is being taxed. And the thing is, we're not even choosing who gets to jump to the front of the line. We're not making these choices. These are people who are self-deporting from the United States because they know they won't meet the legal standards there, either because of criminality or they're just fake or whatever. That's, I think, what's most infuriating. If this was a deliberate selection of people from around the world, a witting, thoughtful decision, we could argue about it, but at least it would be abiding the rule of law. I think what's particularly grating here is the anarchy, and that really the biggest scammers and the biggest tricksters get to go to the front of the line, and Trudeau and Hassan, they don't even seem to care. I think they sort of like it. I think they're enjoying this madness. It's in league with his tweet, with Trudeau's tweet last year.
Well, here goes to their political strategy. And I think this is all about politics for Liberals. They want to make the Conservatives look like a bunch of green shade accountants who are just heartless and mean. And that's what they're going to try to do. So they're going to try to suck us in and saying, we don't care about human beings, and play the same old dirty tricks they tried. I mean, we saw that back in the 2015 election campaign. I think they're just trying to make the Conservatives look like a bunch of meanies. And that's the political strategy behind this. I don't think there's any policy thinking about, what's best for the country, what's fair and what's just. It seems to be all politics all the time.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. I mean, I think their extremist feminism, gender equality, everything, gender equality in this new peacekeeping mission to Mali, which is going to be, I hate to say it, a human disaster for our men and women in the armed forces. I think it's all about being so absurd and provocative that anyone who dares speak out against it is racist, sexist, Islamophobic, whatever. That said, I agree with you. That is their political tactic. But I don't think that should be a reason not to push back because, putting aside the spin, I think Canadians are mad about the substance. And I think Canadians are getting a little sick of being scolded by the Liberals and the media as racist that, misogynist that, when I don't think we are. And as you point out, even other new Canadians like your wife and her family, they don't support this at all. Let me ask you this, and I know that you were a leadership candidate who did very well in the last Conservative leadership, but you did not win your nomination, and you're in litigation with the party. So I know that you have a certain position about the party. You're still a Conservative MP. Is the Conservative... And I'm putting those things out there just to disclose to our viewers that you have sort of a special position in the party. You're a Conservative who has been at odds with the party. And I'm not making a judgment, I'm just making an observation. Do you think Andrew Scheer, Michelle Rempel, and the rest of the Conservative Party are fighting this issue vigorously enough? And I know you're a loyal Conservative, but you also have some disagreements. Why don't you tell me your candid answer?
Candidly, I think the problem for them is there's just so many issues right now to fight the Liberals on. I mean, the pipeline issue is something that is absolutely crucial. So the problem is we've got so many issues to deal with, we have to pick and choose. Their latest justice bill is an absolute atrocity. So to be honest, the Liberals are doing so many bad things, it's tough to choose. So I'm encouraging them to double down and push harder on this one. I think particularly our Quebec caucus also is too. So I don't know. To be honest, I'm a Western Canadian. The pipeline thing is awfully big in Saskatchewan, not quite as big in Alberta. So I kind of favor that one. But I know our Eastern Canadian MPs are saying, hey, this isn't our backyard. And so today, in the last couple of days in Western Creek, they've hit it hard. But I think that's a judgment call, and largely it's going to depend on what they hear from the grassroots. Yeah. So if you figure this one's a big issue, but again, the problem is, the Liberals are doing so many dumb, stupid things it's kind of hard to concentrate on just one.
Yeah, it's a target-rich environment. I'm glad to hear your Quebec colleagues are on this issue, because I think Quebec has been the most frustrated by it. They're where first the Haitians and the Salvadorians, and none of whom are coming from those original countries. Most of them are just walking up from New York. You can't be a refugee from New York, and that's, I think, the frustration is the scam there. Well, listen, Brad, I really appreciate you coming on the show and speaking so candidly, and I agree that you are conservative in the bone, and that's how you ran your leadership campaign. Let me ask you what you think your political future is. And I didn't mean to speak negatively a moment ago. I just wanted to disclose to our viewers who might not have been following things in the last year or so with you. But what do you think the political future holds for yourself? You're a pretty young guy. You have a lot of conservative values. You did very well in leadership. What's next?
I'll be back someday. For people who don't know, I have a 2.5-month-old and I have a 3-year-old daughter at home. Mm-hmm. So you know what? I need to take a break. I got some opportunities there. Look, I lost my nomination literally by an inch, frankly, because half of my supporters didn't show up. Had another couple dozen showing up, I'd be there. So this is all about remember to vote, people. Yeah. Remember to vote. And both of the candidates were more from the left side of the Conservative Party, and they ganged up against me. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things. So I'll be back someday. Mm-hmm. But when you got kids as young as mine, maybe it's not a bad thing to sit out for 6, 8, whatever years. So. Yeah.
Give me one last word about the new Premier of Saskatchewan. We haven't had a chance to have him on the show yet. He looks like he's following in some of the good examples set by Brad Wall, who was certainly one of my favorite premiers in the last decade. Tell me a little bit about the Saskatchewan Premier. Do you know him? Have you worked with him in politics? Were you familiar with him from your travels in the province?
I don't know him personally as well as I knew two of the other contenders in there. I knew two of them. One very well, one a little bit, and the other two, he's one I'm not too familiar with. But everyone who does know him say he's really a grassroots sort of guy. He sort of had never thought about running to be premier, and this just sort of happened, and he stepped up to the plate. So I think you're going to see a guy who's pretty humble and sort of a meat and potatoes, stick to basic issues, but he's going to be unafraid to stand up for his province. That's the reading I get of the guy.
Well, that sounds like a perfect fit for Saskatchewan. A little bit humble, a little bit grassroots, solid, reliable, neighborly. That's my favorite Saskatchewan adjective, neighborly. And I think Brad Wall, it was sort of amazing to see a politician leave at the top of his game. In Canada, sometimes politicians stick around too long. So listen, good luck in Saskatchewan. Good luck in your own plans. I hope to talk to you again. I mean, I know you're not done right now. You still are serving.
You will.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Could I just say to your viewers, continue to pray for the folks in Humboldt and in Saskatoon, and I know in parts of Alberta who were impacted by the tragedy. I represented Humboldt for 11 years in the House of Commons, and those people are still going to need prayers going through the next weeks and, frankly, the next years. So continue to have them in your thoughts.
Thank you very much. That's a very nice note to end on. Well, it's great to talk to you, Brad, and we'll call on you from time to time, I hope, in the months ahead, because there's so much to talk about. You can be one of our windows into Ottawa, what's going on. Great to talk to you.
Have a great one.
All right, there you have it. Brad Trost. He's the Conservative MP for Saskatoon University, giving us an update on immigration and other matters in the House of Commons. That's an excerpt from my daily TV show, The Ezra Levant Show. Normally it's behind a paywall, but I thought you'd like this video, so we put it on YouTube. If you want to subscribe to watch the daily show every day, including always 2 interviews a day, and I read my hate mail, just click on this screen and become a premium member.